We are negotiating several licensing deals at once, and I'm struggling to track who's responsible for what on our end. What's the best way to manage multiple legal processes internally without letting things slip through the cracks?
Yes, great question. Um, so you're in a scenario where you are negotiating several licensing deals. It's all happening at the same time. There's all these different people responsible for different pieces when it comes to the negotiations, and you're trying to figure out how to manage the legal process internally so that things don't slip through the cracks. This is where you have to view it from the standpoint of the different roles that are going to be played by different people. See yourself, if you're the one managing all of these processes, you need to see yourself as the ringmaster or as the grand project manager of all of it, right? You want to be the one who has an understanding of what everyone's role is going to be on the deal. And you will choose a platform for tracking everything later. First, you have to think about what you need to decide the best platform for tracking it. But you already know you'll need to get clear on who is doing what, and you'll need to choose a platform. Okay, so let's start with how you get clear. Number one, if you don't have project names that you can easily use to reference your deals, come up with a way to easily reference each deal so that when you say that word or that short phrase, like a two-word phrase, everybody knows which license you're talking about. If you have to describe the license you're talking about every time, it makes everything harder. So give it a project name, or give it some sort of name for easy reference. This immediately will make everything easier, okay? If you've got same counterparty, a bunch of different licenses, you want separate project names or separate deal names for each license if each of the licenses are large and are being negotiated independently, largely independently of each other, okay? But give them names, reference names. Number two, who is negotiating the business terms? And do they have an understanding of the difference between the business terms and the legal terms? That is going to save you a huge amount of headache when it comes to keeping track. You need to know what is in the lane of the person who decides the business terms and what is in the lane of the legal department that gets to decide the legal terms when it comes to implementing the business decisions. You want to have a good relationship with this person. If you're not a chatty person, but they like to chat, you might need to get on the phone and get to chatting with them and establish a certain degree of rapport with them before they will understand that you're a little less chatty than they are, right? But you want to be on a good relationship. You need to explain how you operate, some of the legal or ethical limitations around conversations, right? You'll be talking to general counsel or legal counsel for the licensee, and they can talk to non-lawyers over at the licensee when it comes to the business terms, right? So get connected with who's making those business decisions, get aligned with what everybody's lane in and how it operates, and set up a good rapport with them. You'll need to be talking to them regularly. Please note that business folk, especially if it's a broker or finder, they tend to operate fast. They like to push things forward quickly. You need to be responsive to them. You cannot be waiting until the end of the next day if they've reached out to you this morning, okay? You need to be responding to them quickly. Assess, that brings me to the next one. You want to assess who is missing from your legal team. Do you need a paralegal? Do you need a file clerk? Do you need a legal assistant? Who is going to keep things administratively streamlined for you so that you can focus on the higher degree of work that comes with managing a project. Things like building a rapport with the person who's managing the business side, right? So that rep on the business terms, you want to be in a good relationship with them. That means you might need to free up some of your time from the administrative aspects of managing a shared workspace where documents and files are being shared between the parties or between the different folk that are involved on the client side when it comes to negotiating this license. And obviously, I'm talking about major licensing here, where you would have this large sort of project involved. So when it comes to your hiring, you may also think about, do you need things turned fast? Things where you need somebody more than just an administrative person, but you need maybe an attorney or paralegal who turns things around fast when it comes to the actual research or edits or things like that. So think about who else needs to be on your legal team. Where is your biggest pain point when it comes to the management right now? The way you're expressing this question, you have a current problem when it comes to managing all of these different deals. What is it? Is it a lack of clarity on where every deal is in the process, you know, along the phases, along the pipeline? Is it that you don't have clarity as to what that pipeline looks like from initial stages all the way through execution, all the way through performance of the license, which is a huge part of making sure there's no legal trouble, right? So is that your issue, lack of clarity? Then you may want to set up a detailed workflow where you thoughtfully consider, well, what are all of the stages here? What are ones that are true for every license? And then what are the variations that are specific to individual licenses, right? You want to at least have something that is true for all of the licenses that you deal with, get really global, and then start tracking all of them on that basis. And you can put the exceptions and the nuances and the variations and track those in a different way once you're within the deal. But if your issue is that you have a problem seeing where all of them are in the different stages, then get clear on that. Think about it. That's really coming up with a design for your process around tracking it and managing it. Okay, so think about what your current pain point is and solve for that. Your pain point could be, there's all these people and like I can't find who to contact. Okay, then you need a contact list for these deals, a very clear contact list that makes it clear where everybody is, who they're associated with, the relationships between all the parties, their full contact details. And you need it in a way that works for you visually. So what's that pain point? You know, is it that you need to bring in somebody to explain a piece of this that you don't have the competency on? This is not a knock on you. Everybody is incompetent in something. Every single week, I'm usually thinking about something I want to learn more about, or something that I'm going to ask people about, or those people who are where I am 5 years from now, what I'm going to ask them, because it's a lack of competency, of current competency, right? A competency gap can be bridged in 30 seconds. It's not a knock on you. So if there's something where it's like, I'm just not getting X, go get it. Go get it. It's probably not even hard to get it, right? It's just merely sitting down and understanding, well, what is the irritation here? What is the frustration? What is the constraint? What is the pain point? It could be speed around getting things turned around. You know, so you've got to look back and be able to break it down. And it can be broken down. You can look back and say, well, what is the issue here? And I would say, look to your frustrations, that area where you're frustrated. What would it mean for that frustration to be gone? So get clear on, well, what is causing the frustration that you can fix, not where if only other people would fix themselves. Forget it. That you can't do that. What's the one thing you can fix now? And that's where you put your energy. You don't put it into what you can't fix. I'm sure Anna is laughing because earlier today I was just talking to her about something I couldn't fix. I wanted somebody to fix themselves. And then I got off the phone with her and I said, okay, time for me to fix it. So enough venting, time for me to fix it. It's okay to vent, but just understand the value in that is limited. It's limited to helping you realize where your frustration is and that you can't fix the thing you're venting about. You have to go in a different direction to fix the problem. Those are some key areas to get yourself organized on all these different deals. Come up with an easy reference for each of the deals. You'll immediately start to see this play out when it comes to organizing things. Get clear on everybody's role and what it means to be in your lane and out of your lane. Get cozy with the person doing the deal terms on the business side. Make sure they understand your role and they're not encroaching on it. And the same for you, for them. Okay? Develop a really good rapport with them and a working relationship with them. Think about who's missing from your team. Where do you need to free up your time so that you can spend it on the higher order things like developing a rapport, things about thinking about the overall design of your deals and what it looks like start to finish for every single deal so that you have an overall structure for all of your deals that all of your deals move through. And then think about the unique variations for the different types of deals. Okay. This will also make it easier for you to report. Think about where your largest frustrations lie and how you can fix them when it comes to getting a handle on the process so that things aren't slipping through the cracks. You're probably going to have places to put all of this stuff because your brain is not the best place to store information. The brain is an excellent tool for processing and thinking. It is a horrible tool for storing information. So what you want to do is figure out where you're going to put things. I tell people start with the lowest tech first. Don't spend your time building a bunch of stuff or going into a new software if you don't have the fundamentals. What is the lowest tech way that you can approach this? Using the tools you already have. Once you find yourself using those tools in a consistent way and they actually work for you, then you think of upgrading. Okay, but too often people immediately jump to the fancy and the complicated when it comes to software tools, when instead they need to actually demonstrate the use case, right? It's kind of like when people go out and they buy like fancy containers for organizing their house because they feel like that is what's going to lead to the organized house. And really it's that, and those fancy containers don't do anything. They still have disorganization because they don't have a system that matches their current behavior. Whatever tool you use that is more sophisticated than what you have now, you want it to match your current behavior. If you have disorganization, you have not observed enough your current behavior in a way to determine an organized approach. You need to do that first. And whatever, trust me, you already have tools that can be put into place that can create an organized system that matches your current, behavior tendencies. Once you get things organized from your current frame of reference and standpoint, then you look for different software. Okay. So if you can't do something in an Excel spreadsheet, you probably do it well and do it consistently in an Excel spreadsheet. You probably shouldn't be using Monday. See what I'm saying? If you can't use a chart, just a basic word chart to stage out the different phases of a deal, then you don't need a Kanban board. Think of the low tech way. If you can do that, then you can move to something more sophisticated. Think of what you're already currently using. And think of what offers you the least need to pivot between different software. Because that's just managing software. That's not managing the deal. right? You don't want to spend all your time in the software. So if the beginning stages is you're trying to get a handle around it, focus on getting a handle around it, not on the glittery stuff. I mean, you can get a handle around it with a phone, and a notes app, an organized notes app, and a contacts.